joining Archangel Alts. We're here to bring you a crypto market watch instant insights. And going to do a little bit of an extensive one here. It's very interesting what's going on today, but also is not an ideal trading time. I'm going to get back to some trading in a little bit, but normally we would probably do some live trading right now. It's about 9:50 on February 21st, 2019. And I'm going to look here to get us to BTC, the most obvious place to start. That's why that wasn't showing up. Okay, saw all these BTTs and thought we were alphabetical, but we weren't. And there we go. So, fantastically amazing. And this is something that my gut is telling me is certain to change. So, mark my words. I'm actually not logged in right now, so we can just kind of see. I've opened up the bigger screen so I don't have to worry about seeing the orders or anything. You can see things a little bit better here. But we've got this steady progression once again. And even though we had dropped down to the low 39s, we are back up to staying above 39.50. We're right at 39.50. And even so, the volume is dropping. We've dropped about, when we were doing the amazing trading through the lightning and thunderstorm, and clearing positions and having a grand old time, ringing the cowbell, woohoo. We had gone up about $11 million in 24-hour volume. Well, I really forget the 24-hour part. $11 million in about 1 hour worth of trading on Bitcoin, and it was just really crazy. It was causing all sorts of triggers to go off in the altcoin world. But things have steadied out, but the thing is that our volume has been pretty healthy throughout that time. You can see at the very bottom it shows the number of Bitcoin that are being traded at that time. That's 1 minute at a time. So very healthy for Binance and their fees. I'm happy for them. I don't mean that sarcastically. I think that he does an amazing job to maintain the website. Hopefully they'll never do anything stupid. So that'll be really cool. So lots of healthy volume going on, but you can see that it died down here, it died down over here, but still we've seen much, much worse. So in part of doing this market watch, one of the things that I do want to drive home is the fact that liquidity is the name of the whole game here. And think about it as buys and sells are like the blood flowing through the veins, getting to the major organs. And those major organs are the different coins. And if we looked at like the heart being the major organ here, I would say that BTC is the heart of the whole process. Everything flows in and out of Bitcoin. So liquidity is like the health of the blood, flowing through the system. And when your 24-hour volume is just an indicator of what the buys and sells are doing, and people also look at the overall market cap. Market cap does not mean like there's a cap to the market. It means capitalization. It means, worth based on the number of shares, or in this case, the number of the total amount of a coin that is being circulated and the current value of it. So you put those two things together, in stock terms, how many shares are there and how much are they worth? In this case, how many coins are circulating, or what value of coins are circulating and at what current rate. And so we look at those based on a coin, and that's what's interesting, and that's what's different about this, is so unique about this market. And if you ever hear anybody else saying it, then they probably quoted it from here, because I've been kind of becoming a little bit of a understand liquidity evangelist on and off the channel. But the whole point about the strength and the volatility and the movement of the market, the weak times, the strong times, the ups, the downs, it all, flows through how much activity there is, how much interest there is in trading. Liquidity is the thing to keep your eye on. Make sure that I still have the volume there. Yes, I do. So hold on just 1 second. So as we're looking at this, we see this is really cool that it's having another up here. So what I want to drive home, the important about this, specific to the coins, is that when people get into the market to trade, they're going from fiat, dollars, euros, whatever your country's regular standard fiat currency is. into the world of coins. And even if you go from a dollar to a stable coin that is based on the dollar, you've gone from a, what is considered in the main global market something tangible to something intangible. They don't really even know how to define this. Now, yes, it is true that there's one internet system that is processing electronic ones and zeros, numbers representing money for fiat, and there's another one doing it for cryptocurrencies. Just don't get confused about, as that flow of using blockchain becomes more and more and more the norm, that still doesn't mean that there's not something to distinguish between the two. And that's a difference in systems. So not understanding whether something is in a digital abstract or not. It's a matter of understanding systems. So the big deal, yes, there are sites where you can trade directly from fiat to other coins. That's true. But the main thing that's being traded is Bitcoin to other things, even if it's Bitcoin to Ethereum or Bitcoin to XRP or Bitcoin to Litecoin or whatever it is. This is really, really good. I'm glad that we're talking about this while this is happening. We just kind of have something valuable flowing in the background here. The liquidity that's happening within this, let's just call it an ecosystem, is not really the best name for it, but that's, economists are kind of talking about it that way. This is not just a new asset class, something to be added as an entirely new, section or system. It's not just, commodities or securities or, let's get specific, fossil fuels or, looking at the silver market and the gold market. It is a new one of those, and that is revolutionary. But you have an entire parallel stock exchange happening, and this one trades currencies. And you don't, for the whole, most people, are going from Bitcoin to the other coins. Using blockchain, you have addresses that send and receive and, withdraw and deposit. And so in order to get into the ecosystem, you still have to go from fiat to here. It's going to be on the whole other side of what happens due to people earning off of these exchanges, mostly centralized, that's going to turn heads towards blockchain, not in the corporate world, not the industrial world, not in the bank world, not in the government system, but in mass adoption from us, the people who are interested in coins. Sometime, whether it's a couple of years or a couple of years beyond that, when the thinking is not as much about getting our earnings within the ecosystem and then trading back outside of it, but maintaining here where the value is, even though there's volatility. Now, some people will say that that's not going to happen until it stabilizes. I absolutely disagree. I think the worst thing that could happen right now is stability. Do you want to see it lock into a $4,000 Bitcoin? Or do you want the risk of it going down to 1,000, but the chance of it going up to 250,000? I think most of us would prefer to see that the sky is wide open for just how long the volatility could last until the crushing arm of Wall Street comes in to over-stabilize a quote-unquote volatile market. So keep in mind, it is revolutionary. It is once in a lifetime inside of many lifetimes that we see the opportunity that is here. And that's something to be extremely excited about. So as I kind of push you to think in a, new frontier, excited mindset, and not just look at the ones and the zeros and the current price. But keep in mind that there is something very different from what it takes for something to become liquid when you have to buy it from cash into the ecosystem, usually with Bitcoin, but it could be Ethereum, it could be Litecoin, it could be Nano or Encash or Dash or some of the other ones that are being pushed. Bitcoin Cash. Okay, how long to coin that phrase will it take? Once you are from your fiat into the system, now you're choosing whether to hold or trade, and you're looking at the constant shift in value that's happening with everything. I mean, look right just in this window alone. EOS, around 1% at best. BitTorrent token, 10%. There's a 1% difference between trading between two different stablecoins and BitTorrent. We're just now, as I've been talking with you, Bitcoin is just now going up compared to the dollar, compared to where it was before. And the negatives aren't too terribly bad compared to the stable coins. So now over here we have Ethereum for the most part, and also XRP. In fact, let me set it up like this so you can see it's mostly Ethereum that is traded against. In fact, where is the XRP? Because that was the whole idea of adding the alts thing, so XRP could do their whole decoupling thing. Decoupling. Speaking of which, that's one of the things is that the coins, and they're kind of going head to head with each other. That's going to be, mark my words now, it hasn't happened yet, but it will. Is there? Okay, there it is. Yeah, it's kind of tough to find, guys. There we are. But that's some interesting movement there. So, it's a whole different mindset to trade against these guys. This is where I'm the most comfortable. This is where I live. And if we make our first billion just trading against things in the Bitcoin world, that's what would make me the most happy. We just want to have enough time in the marketplace to get there. So coming back around to my point, I know that I bounce around a lot. There's points within points. Understand the importance of being able to generate value inside of this system that is all its own. And that, yes, it is based on money. You can see right here, we're telling each other what it's worth in Bitcoin and what it's worth in a dollar compared to everything else. But the whole process when you're in here is, for the most part, going from coin to coin, and that is significant. It's something that hasn't happened in stocks. And it's not the same as, trading from one currency to another and doing Forex and all these different kind of things. All of them are unique in their own way, but, this ecosystem all comes from the land of the internet. The blockchain doesn't live in a specific physical country. Even if the only people that ran that blockchain were all in one country, it would all be relying on the servers that are bouncing around everywhere on the internet and our connectability to that. So even, the concept of trading a currency for a currency, or a token for a token, or a coin for a coin, are unique in that all of these have been generated as a project that is just here to have a coin, or to change something about the internet, or change something about the medical field or the music industry, all these different things. So it's no question when, the volatility is there, and it can dramatically shift from, one strength to another and one weakness to another. But it's a really big deal if it can generate any kind of liquidity at all. And right now, Bitcoin's got $123 million that have been processed in the past day. That's just on Binance. Of course, it's one of the most significant measurements of its growth. It's unbelievable. It's unimaginable. It's mind-boggling. And it hasn't even begun really to become a new asset class, as Wall Street is talking about it. So that side of things is coming, but I really hope that the people who are true believers and real adopters as they come along will think of things in terms of, this is the ecosystem, this is the system that we want to see the most value in. Not getting in here from the dollar and then getting right back out in futures contracts or NASDAQ, or even the long-term investments doing it from the outside world, representing some abstract version of this. Get here on the exchanges where it is a revolutionary thing happening, because even some of the top economists, and they're not wrong about what they're saying, but even some of the top economists are looking at this in terms of the real mass adoption is not going to happen until it is safer and less volatile and is on NASDAQ or something equivalent. The CBOE thing is a major deal. They were talking about that being where the adoption is going to come from. I'm just, I'm encouraging, if we do end up having some kind of influence in our little sector of this whole, new market, I am here because there's something different from trading stocks going on than, I could just, trading stocks, doing so slowly with a big chunk of money is so much easier. So much easier. Something like this, is what happens with oil all the time. Just, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes like this, and then it goes down. And So I mean, your only risk there is how greedy are you and how absolutely horrible you must be at reading charts in order to not get it. You would never find a position like this that the only really smart thing to do is to try to grab, 1% or less and keep moving forward. The fee structure is different and it may not last forever. And the risk factor is shifted so far that if you sit in anything long enough, there's no telling how long that time for recovery will be. So that is my takeaway. I'm going to do an entire video just talking about the importance of establishing the right kind of trading liquidity and volatility inside the ecosystem of the coin market and how it is its own unique system, and getting in it and staying with it to create and generate value, energy, electricity, buying and selling and movement, and people having things to talk about that are happening within the system. Those are the things that are going to make a huge difference over time. So now I am actually going to just look specifically right smack dab at the market in front of us and the obvious things that one can see here. So we have the 24-hour change, the top percenters, the bottom percenters, how much it's weighted towards one or the other to see what the health of the market is in any kind of shift just short term from yesterday. RCN, absolutely not normally at the top of the list, and you can see that whatever helped pump to get it here, 1,300 Bitcoin, 24-hour volume, that certainly was not the volume before the pump, as you can see. You can barely even see the volume before the pump. In fact, let's see what it was. Look at the volume at the bottom, 0, 942, 0, a lot, pretty decent amount, 0 again. So, no question that there's some pump going on here. Oftentimes it will be in sync with something else, but it happened right about there. So, just, if you're already in here and up here, just be careful. You can see that this trend is in a downward angle. I am not going to be that guy that draws triangles and lines over everything. I'm going to trust that you can follow the cursor. I'm not putting down anybody else's methods, but we seem to be doing something right on a little bit of a different level in some ways. So I have absolutely no interest in bragging about that kind of thing, but I think that, if I go like this and say, you can see that this is a smooth slope going on, concave, that you can see that this is stair stepping down, that this has a slight steep angle going on here. And so this much falling in this short time is an indication that it is going to sit down here a little bit longer. If I point out all these things, I think that you can follow the logic in that and agree. So just be careful. This may not be the last time that it gives a little bit of up, but to me, this looks like this was the up. So just be careful. It might start to be sagging and coming back down where it's been. And that's just the most recent thing. So same thing at Lind, exactly the same thing at Lind. Similar thing at Singles. BitTorrent. I just hope that people understand not to get messed over, but I'm looking at the amount that they're buying in, and I can see that they don't still understand. So, but that's okay. Only a few 100 people have found us thus far. We're doing just totally organic while we're building up. I think we're going to start to see a little bit of movement and people finding our channel more and more. QKC! I skipped over this unintentionally. So you can see a similar thing going on here. It's just this is a little bit too dramatic of a jump to happen right on the hour for me to think that there are not multiple pumps going on. This is a little bit more of a natural move going along with Bitcoin. And a lot of times the pumps are organized at a time when somebody else already knows that there's something going on with Bitcoin. So that doesn't surprise me either. Really happy to see the movement with ONT. We need some that we got in. I'm always going to go back over this because I like to be very transparent in what we're doing. But we have a position back here that was back in like right around September that we were in there, maybe earlier, and around 36 and around 40. Could be much worse. VET, I really like VET. I mean, you can see everything has gone in the same direction in the market. I may or may not cover that right now. I'm not sure. So, the more that I look at this, I see different things have responded to the up in Bitcoin very similarly. Sometimes when there's an obvious brick wall type pump going on, somebody is doing a sell-off in the middle of things, and it really can be an individual doing multiple pumps. Seen it before, seen it again, because you only have, like, right here with WPR, you only have 180 Bitcoin circulating in 24 hours through this. It would only take maybe 20-30 Bitcoin to get any kind of leverage out of this. Dent. It's one of these guys. So just be careful. It'd be easy to get stuck in some of these positions. So just watch what you're doing. E&J. Doing some very natural looking movement. It was a little bit stronger over here. So in its own pattern, it's weakening a little bit, but it's still following the ups and downs of Bitcoin. So if you think like, pretend that we were betting against zero, like the dollar being a complete constant, a baseline that just stays pretty much like this, maybe up a penny, down a penny. We would see this going up a little bit and then this going up a little bit as it's going down. Bitcoin is doing exactly this, but at more of this kind of angle. So this is stretched out. And the reason I know that is because this is higher in comparison to where Bitcoin's range and peaks are. So if it were on the exact same trajectory all of its own, we would be seeing this kind of angle, but it's not. It is, trying to mimic Bitcoin while losing momentum. So even though it is tracking with Bitcoin, keep in mind Bitcoin is already high compared to where it's been over the past week. Its highs and lows are covering basically $100, $115 range from 39 to 40. So just be very, very careful. You don't get stuck on the cliff. That's the easiest place to get stuck because you're still excited about what's going on. So we did break in waves. We've been talking about where the bottom would be there. I think that it's headed for 7,500. It needs about 70 to make a percent. So, 72.05 would be 72.80. And that's getting closer. We had very, very narrow movement going on for a long time. This was kind of a new timeout period, let's say, for waves. So I like trading waves. When I feel like it's the right time to get back in, I'm going to wait for it to do this kind of range, go down, and then come back up. And it may do that with Bitcoin. It may not. We'll see. Yes, we shall see. VIB, very interesting binaries or something. So it's doing a range of about 22 or so, 23. Pretty nice. Not bad for low volume. So let's see, 603 to 609. That's about exactly the range. There's there's so much clever stuff going on here, and I don't know if that's from the automated trading going on or people that have a very good understanding of what it is that I'm professing, as far as it's much better to get in and out of positions where your percentages are than to let's say that you were going long on everything. You wait until it gets low like this and you buy it, and then you just wait and you 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 wait, and then you sell it here. Well, that's fine. Let's say that was like, I'm just going to pretend that was like 2%. But what if you made 0.5% here and made, let's even say 1% here, and you weren't sure, you waited this out, you came in here, and then you did this, and you made 0.5%, you did this, and you waited out to there, 0.5%, waited out here, and did 0.5%. You're probably going to be able to get like 4% out of that, where you might have gotten 2% if you just waited for the long. So I'm not against, waiting for whatever kind of positions make the most sense to you. You go at the pace that makes the sense. For me, it makes sense to try to catch every wave that works and that it feels like a safe thing. And it's just, that's the pace that I work at. ENG, kind of doing its own thing here. And let's see. We'll see if we got, yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough to see with all the Morse code going on. So it's kind of a good time for a 5 minute. The volume is fairly low for the majority of the market right now. Fuel, I'd like to be able to see it continue in this pattern, working towards 300. That would be good. DNT, we spiked at 330, and this was really kind of a nice sign that it might be able to do some of its own stuff. It's kind of overreacting to Bitcoin over here a little bit, so we'll see if it can gain momentum or not. GNT, kind of the same thing, way overreacting. There's a lot of sell-off happening right now and a buy-in on Bitcoin. We jumped about $700,000 in volume right there. So that's going to, yeah, you can see the shift of things just happened there. TNT, looking fairly nice. We'd like to see it in the 500, 600 range when it's able to recover. Ooh, very interesting. So, oh, that, yeah, I'm psyching myself out now. I already knew it did that. Looking at way too wide a range there. VIA. We've already looked at that. ICX, I was stuck on this while giving my rant about the importance of volume and this being its own ecosystem and its own stock market. So I think you're probably noticing that there's some similar stuff. AMB is weakening. PO is weakening. PO's been having a hard time. I feel for you, PO. This is really more of its normal range. This is more of its normal range. And you can see that whatever was bringing it down over here, it's trying. It's trying. We actually earned somewhere around here. So I'm with you, man. All right, kind of a similar thing, but much more dramatic spikes, much less often. So be very careful. We don't know what the recovery is going to be over here yet, and you can't just draw triangles and make it happen. I have seen so many different times that people use the trend lines from here and here, and then they use it from here and here, and they use it from here and here, and then they use the words that go along with it to say that either the breakout's going to be here, or it's going to continue in this direction, either way. And, well, it's sure to do one of those two things because it almost can't skip over them on its way to the other. You know, if it goes down, it has to go through whatever numbers are going down, and if it's going up, it has to go through whatever numbers it's going up. So, you know, if you're talking to very uninformed people, it's really easy to be a technical analyst because you'll just be talking over people's head the entire time. We're not interested in doing that here. We're interested in being honest and genuine and transparent and putting things right there in front of your face to look at them how they are. And, you know, first to admit to say, you know, I hope that I'm wrong about something when I'm wrong. But, you know, unfortunately I was right. You know, for me, I'm not really, you know, keeping count of things that way. I am keeping count of, however, 98.7% accuracy. Please come subscribe, ring the bell, and give us a thumbs up. Please come join us at Archangel Alts, and we're going to be looking forward to do live streaming and advanced training, tutorials, covering charts and indicators, looking at things in a completely different way from what you'll learn anywhere else. So covering all that territory. And we do this for your entertainment and education. I am not certified in anything. I am just working on a really good track record and have learned things. I've studied a lot of other people who do have a long track record, and we seem to be doing, well, our track record speaks for itself. I don't want to be a braggart. And, you know, we are here on the journey with you to make our first millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, there's more to life than money, but this is that part that deals with money. So anything that you follow that you see us doing, you do so at your own risk. You have to make your own informed choices, study things, ask questions. We will answer the best of our opinion. And our opinion is based on things that have gone rather well. So, you know, we are on our way with you to try to get to that next level. And, you know, we have experienced bottlenecks along the way, but we have gotten out of those bottlenecks. We have experienced having to shrink our circulation down a little bit here and there, but not very often. So it's kind of an exciting process. Yeah, there's a downward trend happening. The more you get, you know, we've already looked at the ones that were, you know, in the top of the list. So now you can see Okay, good for you, Ethereum. That's good. And Ethereum, has dropped from its, what was it, 17,000 24-hour volume back down to 6. So things are fluctuating pretty crazy, and I kind of think that Bitcoin is headed back down towards its 80 million, 70 million 24-hour volume. It's the most likely thing to happen. Bancor, very interesting project. It's got a little bit of a blip going on here. Nice. Interesting and interesting. This is a little bit of that mirroring going on. When this happened, it was almost kind of a guarantee that at some point this would. Not something that you could just plant your life savings on, but seen it enough times. Bitcoin Cash ABC. Not easy, but 1, 2, 3. Yep. At this point, I'm just showing you what's on the screen, buddy. That's interesting. Very interesting. So there's more things to be seen in the 5, 15, and 30, which is just, oh boy, if anybody knows me, that's not the pace that I like to go. I'm a lickety-split kind of trader. I feel the heartbeat, the pulse, the rhythm, the movement of things. And so it's very difficult for me to remain imaginative and focused and vision oriented to find the movement that I like to see when it's too terribly slow. I'm not a, wait a few weeks kind of guy. I'm forced to do it sometimes. I mean, oh boy. But that's not my favorite way to do. My real talent is in identifying something unique very quickly and going in for the kill. And I give my little piece of liquidity in doing so. 1, a 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. TRX sitting pretty low there. XZC, we've made some money from the TNB, Turner Not Broadcasting Service. No, I don't know what TNB stands for. So keep your eye out on that. Be careful. Wow Key is getting closer and closer to a time to buy in, and it looks like it's not over yet. My thought is this kind of gap that you see right here is not able to sustain the size that they're. Usually when you see it weighed really heavy up here, it's going to be going up. People are more and more willing to sell more and more, and that's just easy to calculate. So the second there's a shift with Bitcoin, it'll head there. In this case, this is kind of a sign where just stuff is not clearing. So looks like it's been selling at 69. It had one that it was able to buy in at 70. Very, very slow. If it continues that way, I would buy into some key because it won't take that long for it to clear. Usually it takes maybe a week or two sometimes. Nano's got that same spike going on. In this case, it was the opposite as what we saw in the other coin. IOTX 190 is actually fairly high for where it's been. Up to 194. Let me show you where it was in the 180s. Yep. So we were watching this for a while. We were watching this for a while. Well, it's pretty healthy in the 185s, 190s. Came down to 180. What range has it been in? 184 to 194. That's actually pretty impressive for IOTX. So if you have a feel for the pace that this goes, not a terrible idea. It's just a lot of binary. A lot of binary. So the question there is it healthy enough to clear them when it goes through that? So if you see it go down to 188 in the midst of all this stuff, there's a good chance that it's going to pass through 189 on to 190, and you'll get your one position that's worth more than one. Nope, worth a pretty healthy. You can make a profit in one move there. Mana. 932, 968. I'm noticing that even some of the stronger coins, they're not doing as much movement as they normally would. There's not as much of a range to get in on. Myth, okay, good. Myth is finding its way back up there a little bit. We're looking for it for our own position somewhere right around here. So it's not there yet, but it's not, at the very bottom either. So happy to see it's starting to if this is the bottom and it can, hit here as a target next and then hit around here as a target next as it goes up, that would be super swell. We'd like to see that happen. Myth is just, it's a slightly interesting project. It looks like they're serious about trying to help with privacy and monetization on things. That would be interesting. INS, really, really interesting stuff there. So keep an eye on this. I mean, this is really weak, and it was weak over here. So you want it to kind of test first before getting in. We're going to see a lot of binary there too. Yep. It's like dot, 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 down one, dot, 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 up one. Not muscular dystrophy association, but this is a coin. So it's hitting pretty low there too. It's, we're not out of the woods for these coins yet. That's surprising. GXS, very cool. Satoshi's vision, or is his vision, does he need glasses? Because last time he looked in the mirror, he was Japanese, but now he looks like Greg Wright. Just kidding. So, whether it is his vision or not, this is one of the two Bitcoin caches. Unfortunately, they call themselves Bitcoin Satoshi's vision when it should be Bitcoin Cash Satoshi's vision. Those were a hard fork. They brought down the value of Bitcoin, partially because of futures contracts, partially because of stable coins, but almost immediately when the actual team itself split and sold off a lot of their Bitcoin and did a hash war on their own fork and nodes. So that had a profound difference on things. If you're in a dash, take a look at this. Very, very strong. Is it fun? Is it not a lot of fun? We want to see it be able to double at some point. And I mean, this is the same movement we're seeing for everything. So how far back do we have to go to see it get, let's say, like in the 230 range? Okay, we'd have to come to October. Not too terrible. The majority of what happened at the drop, the hard fork. So we would probably see about here, about here, about here. We'd probably be in the 200s still. So there's a chance that we'll see it again. It's going to take volume, and it's going to take volume here on the markets. We don't want NASDAQ to have to be the answer to things. Myth is kind of bottoming out a little bit again. That's okay. Oh, this was painful. Learned a lesson there. Qtum, I'm going to guess quantum. All right, so I mean, this is kind of a low medium happening in here. I've definitely seen worse. Can kind of see a mirroring where, it dropped to a low baseline and then it's averaging around here and then it had a spike. It is not really in sync with Bitcoin at this point, and you can see that this was a harsh drop in the stock RSI. All these things, just, watch the motion. Even if you're excited that it was up here, keep in mind a lot of those things spiked around the same time. Very kind of pumpy looking stuff, not really a natural reaction to the change in the market. All happened around, I think, 8 or 9. Well, that's a little bit different there, isn't it? But here's, it's a downward angle. Things are kind of narrowing as it gets in this range. So yes, usually when the whole averaging goes into a very narrow area, there's a breakout. This could break up. I mean, it really could, but just keep, I see this getting closer and closer to where it might fall. So just keep your eye on that. Be careful. It might have another slight up. But if you're planning on staying up there for a while, I'm concerned you'll get stuck. We got the power. Same thing. Don't fall off the cliff. Not gunshot residue, but gun residue shot? Nope. Neither of those things. Yeah, everything is kind of getting a little bit weaker. It's about 10:30 now. XRP, what you doing? Okay, so yeah, we see it even stronger there. A little bit higher now, a little bit lower now. Same thing. Interesting. I've noticed several different times GTO kind of going against the grain a little bit. It has to move, for a percentage, it's got to move about 7 points. So just be careful as you're watching for the trends that you actually have enough room to clear. You could still get a profit if you only do 3 or 4. Just my understanding, you're probably not in there just to get, a third of a percent after fees. So this is very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Let's see. Very similar. Similar. This would look similar to the other two if we get rid of the spike. NAV is moving slow and steady. It's got 24-hour volume. Raven, how are we doing? About the same as the others. So we would like to see it do dramatically better. So here's actually the spike that, this was good stuff in here, and then it's around here where it lost everything else. So what's interesting is not the fact that it waited this long to spike, but the fact that it did it the same amount. So it didn't start, ramping down like these things happen naturally over time until, gosh, really, that's a shorter period of time than I even realized. So that's pretty impressive. So, yep, Raven, we'd like to see at least get back up into the 500s, and I might think about selling at a loss. We have one that goes all the way back to over here. So I thought that I was being conservative, and I really was. But, everybody's anticipation was the market doing this. And it did not do that, did it? But we've been trading ever since. We've not let up. We've been watching the trends and catching things as they're in crazy, risky positions and doing well anyway. Just looking at what else is left down here. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Wow, there's some really good coins that are in the bottom of the list right now. And that tends to happen. They tend to group together in certain places. Link and Zill look very similar. There's more variation there. ONG. So we have ONG is a very recent listing, and it was doing thousands and thousands in volume. Let's see, you can see how short time it's been there. So I don't know if it's going to be coming back up to the 19s and 20s. We'll see. I really don't know what its actual normal is. I don't think it's had time to establish that on Binance yet. Interesting. Basic attention token, basic attention span is low. See, a lot of these that I think are strong coins are sitting towards the bottom right now, and they're going to pop when the time is right. So Storm, another one, should be in the 79-80 range, and it's sitting pretty low. Everything is sitting pretty low right now. Great time to get in. But since there's a millionth position in Bitcoin, it's got a long way that it can go down first. Salt, 1 day left. Do not do it. Don't do it. These down spikes are a sign people are getting desperate because they're just now realizing their time is out. SNM tends to overall trade fairly well. I have been trying to discipline myself to like it because it's not bad to trade, but the problem is it's, for it to be one of the lower value coins, and for it to move quickly and effectively before Bitcoin shifts and brings it down with it, we really need more volume. So like if this was 1,000 BTC and 521, then I could see doing that more. But it does, I have it on my scanner just to see what it's doing, and it does tick 0.5% here and there over and over and over again. I might actually change it to 1% just because I'm not going in for some reason. Something's telling me not to do it. No logic there. Hot Hollow Chain was very strong at 40. I think that it probably lives more around 36, so 33 is pretty low. I think that it should be averaging at around 36, 37. Be careful going in on it because you might be there for a while unless that's your intention. I think we skipped over BCPT. I'm very disappointed at how low it has dropped right now. We would like to see it at least around here. And obviously it's used to being the 7s. We don't want it to see it have to go all the way back down to the 7s. You can see that it tends to spike in regular intervals. Over here, over there, over there. And this just goes back to the beginning of the year. So that's 3 different times that it spiked pretty high compared to what its normal value is. This is still within our clearing range that we're looking at. All of these are. So it's actually this is actually against the norm. It may not look that way when you first look at it, but yeah, you can see this is, even if it stayed within this range, closer to 1,000 is the norm. So I'm a little bit disappointed that it's going to probably take a little bit of time to rebound, and we don't really want to see that happen. So that is what it is. Wings is going away, so don't get tricked. In fact, it's going down again. Yeah. We the only one out of the ones that are being delisted that we had anything in was Mod, and we took a small loss on it, and we're already bounced back. Everything is fine. We're like 100 something up, so we're fine there. And that's going through the entire list. So this, once again, let me just show you Bitcoin one more time. And, I think that it's, maybe in a couple of hours it's going to, show a stronger market again. Not really sure. We'll see what it does. I'm not going to draw triangles and pretend that that means that I know what it's going to do. So wouldn't it be nice to go back to November 1st and just kind of track this out? And then, I would love to see it be able to make up this, wouldn't you? I would. So I think that if the Bitcoin Cash thing had not done what it had done and forced kind of a lot of the market to make a shift towards shorting and doing short contracts, betting against Bitcoin, which inevitably, made it necessary for that to be true for people with the most money involved. It's very easy to shift and manipulate the market before the regulators decide more and more what they can and can't do. So looking at this motion as if it were up where it could be, it looks to me like it is going to make it to the 4s. And when it does, what kind of volume does it really actually need to sustain real growth? And that will be interesting to see. In fact, let's just see. Okay, that's just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. That's a lot of money. So right now, it's sitting at 4,449 as far as the amount being traded. Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing, amazing. All right, guys. I guess some people would be asking for this, so I should probably do this too. Looking at Ethereum, you can see that it's actually doing a little bit of its own thing in here. Here we go. It's trading a little bit more narrow, so it's kind of overreacting to Bitcoin a little bit. I was going to say, that's not Bitcoin. So, it really is. It correlates to its, a 30th the value, I believe, which is still the next biggest thing. Yeah, if it was 100 to 3,000, then that would be a 30th. So, very interesting. How are you doing, Litecoin? The silent wonder, just sitting back doing what you do. Or in this case, sitting back doing what Bitcoin does. Pretty much the same thing, just in your own values. Definitely, we like you. You're worth exactly what you're worth. 1 Litecoin equals 1 Litecoin. Ontology coin. How is it looking? Very interesting. All right, guys. So that is Market Watch for now. Just taking a look at where things stand. You know, the message that I give you, whether it's spiking up or down, just be cautious, err on the side of what you see in front of you. The market is pretty weak and slowing down right now. And, you know, you can see that it's less than a third that is in the positive right now. We have several coins that are kind of, you know, just sitting where they've been, sitting sideways, which I'd much rather see them down with a chance of going up than to sit sideways. You know, this is the kind of stuff we don't want to see. We don't want to see this kind of stuff happen. So TNT, oh yeah, all of these are just, they're waiting for something to move them. And that's something that, you know, we had a bit of a tsunami last night, kind of ironically during the thunderstorm, lightning storm. But, you know, afterwards, sometimes it tends to thin out. And the fact that Bitcoin was able to go up while the volume was relatively low, you know, it's going to falter a little bit and the market's going to overcorrect. So just need to be careful, be prepared for things that you're in positions in to go down a little bit. And we're in the same boat. We have some things that I should have closed in on quicker, but I was being a little bit ambitious, so we're going to have to wait those out now. They're about 100 down. And it didn't take much for that to happen at all. But actually, we're still maintaining almost a perfect score over a day or two. You know, the things that I get a little bit nervous about have been rebounding at the right time. So happy to see that happen. Happy to see you guys. Check out the channel. Check out the video. Please subscribe. Ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up. Send us a comment. Let somebody know about us. Share us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, not Pentagram, or Pinterest, whatever, Tumblr. Everywhere you are, Reddit. Let people know we're here. I'm going to do some live trading. Probably going to wait for things to perk up a little bit. And if not, then I will do news or cover a specific coin while I'm waiting a little bit of the trading out. So, God bless you guys. For now, it is Archangel Alts out.